Hello everyone, so I want to make an updated video for 2026 about what SETD5 syndrome is and how it still disables me to this day. As I have recently got some new followers, and I've also got a lot of new followers in 2025 here. And I want to preface this, please do excuse my fast-paced voice, I am definitely working on that, and please do excuse my moving head here. I also want to preface that SETD5 syndrome is extremely rare, and you cannot self-diagnose yourself with SETD5 syndrome here. One other thing I also want to preface is that SETD5 syndrome is not a result of bad parenting. My parents could not do anything to stop me from having SETD5 syndrome. It just randomly happened in my brain. My parents could, and even nowadays, I do not think my parents will be able to do anything to prevent me from having SETD5 syndrome. So I just want to preface that before I go on with this video. So I wanted to start with what SETD5 syndrome is. How I like to explain it is by 3 tiers. You have your subtle tier of SETD5 syndrome, then you have your kind of subtle to mild tier, and then you have your more severe tier. So someone with a subtle tier of SETD5 syndrome would have a nonsense mutation. This is usually where you have enough symptoms to qualify as having SETD5 syndrome, but your symptoms are less severe. And you do not have to have intellectual disability to be diagnosed with SETD5 syndrome, but most people do have intellectual disability that have SETD5 syndrome. SETD5 syndrome is mainly categorized as a form of an intellectual disability, just with a whole host of other symptoms listed on there. So yeah, just want to go ahead and preface that. Also, the next tier is missing one to 2 chromosomes. I am missing 1 chromosome. This is where you have symptoms of SETD5 syndrome. They are definitely there. A doctor can definitely tell that you have medical symptoms. But if I just go out on the road and tell any random person that I have SETD5 syndrome, they would definitely be confused, and they would not be able to tell that really anything is wrong with me. They might just think I'm a bit awkward or a bit quirky, so yeah. And then the third tier is the severe tier. People can definitely tell there is something wrong with you, medical people and also just random people out in the world, but they can't point a finger on what is wrong with you. There are many people with SETD5 syndrome who fall into each of these categories that I have explained here. So yeah, that's basically kind of what it is. So I'm basically missing 1 chromosome. And how I like to explain it is all my other chromosomes kind of have to help compensate for my missing chromosome. For them to be able to do that though, you kind of have to work with the brain and help the brain out. For instance, the brain needs a lot of help and a lot of support, especially when the child is younger. For instance, when I was younger, I was in speech therapy, OT, and also physical therapy, and I was also in a lot of support groups. I was in tutoring and all kinds of stuff when I was younger to try to help me. I also had a lot of symptoms when I was younger as well, and it was definitely apparent that something was wrong with me when I was younger as well. So that's kind of what SETD5 syndrome is. Now you're probably wondering, how does SETD5 syndrome disable someone? I am just one person with SETD5 syndrome. SETD5 syndrome can disable people in other ways that it doesn't disable me. Everyone with SETD5 syndrome is unique and has their own unique strengths, weaknesses, and struggles. So this is kind of how it disables me. I am very, very independent. I can do most things on my own, but I still do need help with things. For instance, I still am very bad at spelling. I will mix up words like who and how. I also will easily mix up where and where. My family will ask me how to spell where. I will spell it correctly, and then they'll ask me again how to spell it 2 minutes after I just spelled it right and I will spell it wrong. I also noticed I would get speed and sped mixed up. I have a recent YouTube video where I said speed up song of Harry Cole when I meant sped up. And this, when I was younger, sometimes I would mean a wrong word. That definitely wasn't a word I should have been using to mean another word as well. Well, I was much worse at spelling when I was younger. I also, took me a long time to do things that normal people, again, can do and can find easily. I also do not really like trends. I'm not really into any trends. So for instance, you cannot just go ahead and expect someone with SETD5 syndrome to be able to do something that somebody else can do. You have to work with the brain. You have to help the brain. And ways you can help someone with SETD5 syndrome, usually a young child, is putting them in therapies. I was in occupational, PT, and speech therapy when I was younger. In school, also outpatient as well, which really helped my brain. I was also in a lot of programs, and even in high school, I was in a lot of programs. For instance, it took me many years to learn how to drive a vehicle, and took a lot of practice, trial and error, and a lot of accommodations and techniques for me to be able to pass a driver's test here in Ohio. I am extremely grateful that I was able to. Now, you might think, does SETD5 syndrome still disable somebody, even as an adult? Yes, 1,000% yes. For instance, I still mix up words, simple words. For instance, I mix up where and rear all the time. My family asked me how to spell where. I would spell it correctly, and then they'll ask me again how to spell it 2 minutes after the fact, and I will spell it wrong. I also get who and how mixed up. I also get speed and sped mixed up. This one I have recently noticed on one of my YouTube posts with a sped up Harry Cutler song. I meant sped up, but I said speed. I also do get where and where's mixed up as well. Another thing is I really struggle with eye contact. I get very queasy when I have to make it. I don't make it with not even my own family members. I've always struggled with it. Some people would find it annoying. My mother has had to advocate for me in the past for that, making sure that other people know I sometimes cannot really help or control that. These weaknesses do not make excuses for SETD5 syndrome. They just do define a person that does have SETD5 syndrome. And another one that I also struggle with is I sometimes need simple reminders, sometimes to eat. I can do that on myself a lot of times, but sometimes every once in a while I need a reminder. I also sometimes need help with deciding clothes. Picking out clothes sometimes that are more trendy. I do not like a lot of trends. I like things sometimes that are younger for my age. For instance, I really like going to dances still. I also, do also need my routine. I have to eat the same 3 snacks every single night, which include chips, Cheetos, and Cheez-Its, and specific kinds as well, like very Pacific as well. And again, so that also does the same with me. I also have a lot of interest. I love these interests, but sometimes I don't realize when they are becoming too much or I'm buying too much for them. For instance, I did not realize that I was running out of space in November, and I bought this large Charlie Brown dartboard, obviously not realizing. I also sometimes need help managing money, sometimes help with that. And again, I do also, need help with things that people sometimes do not see. I need help with. It also takes me a lot longer to learn things that are simple in nature for others to learn. For instance, it took me a lot longer to learn how to ride a bike. I did not learn how to ride one until I was 19 years old. Strengths that I have with SETD5 syndrome is I am a very helpful person. I love to help people within that as well. I still do need, accommodations. For instance, I still need to use a key lock because I learned how to use a combination lock, but I cannot get a combination lock open within a decent amount of time, so I use a key lock at my work. For instance, I also am very, very social, but I find it sometimes hard to make friends. I always knew I was different, and I always felt different. But yeah, another strength I also have is I am very good at communicating without words. I can usually get more attention when I want something. Even after my back surgery, when I couldn't speak, I was able to quickly get my mom's attention that I was feeling sick, and she was able to help me right away. I also am pretty happy for the most part, except for when I get kind of overstimulated, and stuff like that. But I usually don't cry a lot. Most times I do not cry. Only I'm really overstimulated, or I'm in a lot of pain. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and make a video explaining SETD5 syndrome for 2026. So thank you all for watching this video.